You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
And I'd hazard to say that the views of this host are not particularly those of the vast majority of people on the planet, but the number's growing in favor of where we're at, guys. So there you go. This little puppy just yapping away over there, eh? Having a good old time. Yeah. Hey, look at me, I'm a dog. Woo-hoo. Big dog. Yeah, it's about 7-8 pounds tops, maybe. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, so now where are we here? Gotta love that live radio thing. It's all good. Yeah, and the birds are they're pretty chirpy too. Looks like there might be something trying to blow in tonight. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning into Outside the Box here on Critical Mass Radio. Of course, the sister station to criticalmassradio.co.uk. And we'll start the show off with a great big thanks to Paul Giovanni and, of course, Lisa and the crew at Critical Mass. We're kind of reaching out right now for people if you have the means and are able to help the station out. With the first anniversary comes the first rebilling, and anything that you guys can do would be great. Listening is great too. So again, don't feel pressure from me. I like to put these things out there. Because I really like being on the air. What are the odds? Yeah, so if you can, head over to criticalmassradio.co.uk if you haven't already, and pop something on the donation. It's completely non-profit. Everything goes to keeping these platforms alive and promotions thereof. So it's friggin' awesome is what it is. Excuse me. So anyway, been an interesting day. Aren't they all? Lots of interesting tags from people, and had a chat with Hazel this afternoon as well, and did an interview this morning. I thought it was going to be live. My bad. Sorry, everybody. Me, live radio, that's kind of all I do, so doing pre-recorded is a very rare thing for me. But nonetheless, Mel V from freedomcentral.info, and I had a wonderful chat. And I got to tell you, when you put a couple of Gemini dragons together, there's a little bit of magic. And this interview is a bit different too. Mel's a great interviewer. She's going to pop in and out of this show whenever I told her, whenever you feel like it, just pop in and get John and have a chat and whatever. So and plus it helps get the word out for freedomcentral.info as well, and as other sites and what have you that are really working away from the whole fear porn distraction game, as I'm sure most of you that have been listening for any length of time are starting to see Oz for the very first time. I've seen the shimmer my whole life. I haven't been able to really decipher it, no words for it, but now, isn't it interesting? I have a way to explain it. And hopefully that's getting through. Last night was for me, a very good example of being in that allegorical pocket. Had a great chat with Jim yesterday, Fiery Leo, and the Will of a Lion, by the way. Of course, what are the odds? Which really primed me for last night's show. Because one of the things I like to do when I'm, hanging out with friends, of course, there's always questions. For some reason, I show up and people start asking questions, which is great. That's my role. That's what I do. I chose to be the servant of servants, and the selfish bitch that I am. When you do that, you get the highest purpose. So that was probably the ulterior motive to it, anyway. But I just found that to be the best place to find the most service in terms of the all and myself together. We are one. So that worked for me. But the interview this morning that went into this afternoon, of course, it's a different perspective. A lot of stuff you guys have heard before. There's a few new gems in there, because when I'm getting interviewed, I'm always getting interviewed from a different perspective. So the questions are going to be they're going to be different. And I love hooking up with people that know how to ask questions, that know how to interview people. And most of my life, up to prior to going on and hosting shows and whatnot, most of my life was spent on the interviewee side of the microphone, with music, like in radio stations and what have you. So that's probably why it's more comfortable for me to do that than try to host, because this always feels like center stage to me, and I think I've explained more than one occasion what center stage means to me, and how much I've spent my life shunning it and pushing it away, but I always seem to end up there. So great big shout out to some Geminis with their birthdays, of course. Just had a chat with my friend Martin, and his birthday, I believe it was May 26th. Yeah, so gee, I don't have to remember much, right? But anyway, just a big shout out to Martin and all the Geminis up to this point that have had their birthday so far. And sorry, I'm a little partial. I'm Gemini, so it's not that I'm separating from others. It's just, when you're in your zodiac, that whole time is it's like your birthday. So that's how I feel anyway. So it's neat when I actually get to thrive in my own sign. And boy, was it hot today. And for the record, today was the first time I ever done a radio interview. Of course, I look great on radio. In a bikini. Hey, how about that? It was stinking hot this morning. Oh my. It was probably close to, I'd say 27, 28 degrees and over 30 in the sun. And of course, in the morning the sun hits here, and that was at 9 o'clock. So it's finally starting to cool off, which is really cool. Now, pun intended. All right, let me go to over to Facebook here. I just want to say some shout-outs. Hey, Keith, how are you? Otis, Sean, John. Your post guys are amazing. Ellen or Aileen. Never know how to pronounce European names properly unless I hear them right. Yeah, I mean, it's just been a day of days, a week of weeks, and a month of months lately. But you guys are getting it. It's pretty cool. And here's the neat part about, when people kind of get what I'm talking about, it helps me get it too. And of course, people come back with their own perspectives on the same thing, and they hand me these gems. In as much as this is what communication is. It's two-way. And as you co-create me, I help co-create you. This is how we do this. We do it all together, and it works. It's pretty cool. All right, so I just got to get over to my messages here. This whole distraction thing, people are, they're too busy looking at the literal, constantly looking at the liter all, right? The garbage spread out all over the all, okay? That's why literal. There it is. Excuse me. And there was a couple other words that came up during the interview this morning, and I've had a whole bunch of them pop into my head today, but do you think I can remember them right now? Not a chance, right? But that's just the way it is. These little whispers on the wind come sneaking in. And here we go. Hey, Keith. Yes, absolutely. Thanks for the message. Lotto. And here's a post. I'm going to leave names out of this because, again, I'm only interested in concepts. I'm not interested in calling, unless people call me out, I'll call them out. But, things like opt and whatnot, I have no issues exposing a COINTELPRO for what a COINTELPRO operation is. It's designed to replace your old savior, which some of us started out with the Christ thing or Muhammad or whatever, and of course as we get rid of those illusions and start seeing them for what they are, the system has this beautiful way of constantly throwing carrots out, and here's your new savior. As I described this morning, then you've heard me say it, the 1, 2, 3 step. The first step is to try to buy you. Second step is they conflict the shit out of you without, physically harming you, hopefully. And in step 3 is they take you out if you don't know who you are. See, that's where, you kind of, once you get into the truth and you stand there, step 3 doesn't count anymore. And they'll still mess with you on step 2, for up to a point. Isn't it funny that I've been on the air almost every day since they raided my house, except for the 28 days in solitary. And I did take a bit of a hiatus after that, gather my thoughts and whatnot, but if you honestly think for 1 minute, I am not being eyeballed and listened to by some of the coolest organizations called alphabet gangs in the world, think again. But I have the beautiful joy of knowing you can't touch me, and you know it. So do I. That's the bitch of truth, right? Under the reins of truth, you become invisible finally understand that. And I don't believe it. I know it now. It's a different game. All right. Let me see. What have we got? Yeah, there was a post, a message posted to me today, and normally people that post this kind of stuff get instant block, right? Because one, I don't deal in fear porn. Two, I don't deal in religiocosis, chosenitis, mind program, Saviorville. Okay. I don't deal in literal translations of allegorical books. I don't deal in donating to warmongering countries, especially. So when it came in and it said, "We stand with Israel. We need your help. Please read and share." Time is of the essence. Well, I'll tell you what. Just my immediate reaction to that is, go fuck yourself. Okay. I'm not going to support a warring nation. I'm not going to support anything of a nature that is part of the biggest part of the problem on this planet. Okay. So and to come in from someone in the Christianity vein of things, you fool, you moron, Judeo-Christian. There's the two biggest programs running. Okay. Anyway, this bullshit operation is called Together One for Israel, and I will call out the organization partnering with it, Wilderness Mountain Ministry, and they're hosting a fundraiser. I'm not going to tell you where because I'm telling you, run to the hills on this one. All right. Yeah, to establishing, what was the Jews and Christians in North America to establish self-help for self-sufficiency and encourage making aliyah. Okay, whatever the fuck that is, I have no idea. Not that I care. This is all literal translations that I'm reading through here. Anyway, to what we believe is the final Exodus. Well, here it is in a nutshell, moron. I don't believe shit. I either know it or I don't. So it's time to get off your belief nonsense. We left Pisces a little while back there. Get with the program. Welcome to I Knowville, called Aquarius, Age Thereof. All right. All right. Let's talk about divide and conquer here. WMM, that's that ministry thing, believes, there's that fucking word again. Sorry, this gets my goat every time when I see this kind of lunacy. Believes together that Christians and Jews, fuck the Muslims, have the opportunity now to lay aside, see what I'm saying? Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. You guys are split right down the middle, and you'll never get along with anybody. You know, as God told Abraham, I will bless those that bless thee, and I will curse those that curse thee, coming from a very loving, jealous, vengeful piece of shit in the sky, literal translation thereof. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag tonight as far as where all that energy is going and why it's going there. I think I kind of found the main line where they shoot the heroin of religion into this little illusion that we're walking around in, this holographic nightmare of manipulators taking those of us unknowing that are kind of getting to know things now, who are the actual creators, because we have that aspect endowed within us, as I've explained before. And then, of course, the all-knowing, a little less than all-knowing, deciding, well, I'm going to try to be the all-knowing God of all things. There's your fallen Lucifer, lucid light, iron, Ferris. Okay, this is why we came out of the Iron Age, boys and girls. Lucifer, bringer of the, sorry, whose light? Certainly ain't mine. All right, so I tell you what, how about you just skip off out of here, pal, and I'm going searching for the deepest, darkest place where I can shine the absolute brightest and stop the poisoning of this, this hologram that we're living in. The God worshippers, Marduk, Baal, whatever. And again, I'm not pulling any more punches on this stuff. I've been nice about this for years, trying not to, I don't want to offend anybody. If you're offended, that's your ego, moron. All right? If you can't handle the truth, I'm pretty sure Alex Jones is broadcasting somewhere, George Norrie, and they'll distract the living shit out of you, so go enjoy yourselves. Better yet, head down to your local Pentecostal church and start throwing yourself down the aisles and, be the literal fool, okay? Now, by the Lord, where does that word come in? Come on, guys, please. And then, of course, there's other bullshit in here as well, talking about, where was the one that really got me? I'm not even going to read this because I don't want to give any of this stuff out. But, here we are talking about, Israel has many vulnerable populations. Yeah, Palestinians, ring a bell there, Dip? All right. You know, the ones that are being murdered constantly by this Israel that you're purporting to support. I love this, Holocaust survivors. Did you do any research on that? Oh, that's right. You probably didn't, because you've been buying the line. They've been selling that same 6 million bullshit story since before World War One. It's all there. It's in the newspapers. I've got beautiful scans of them, too. Yeah, they've been selling that 6 million. By the way, whatever happened to the other 2.5 million whenever the supposed numbers of Auschwitz went from 4 million to 1.5? Did that not change the 6 million number? Or is that, we're supposed to just keep adding that to it because that's the, told the party line thing? Right, okay, well. Anyway, victims of terror, creators of terror, actually. Soldiers and civilians suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, maybe they should stop going out and fucking murdering each other. That might help, eh? And of course, they have no time for brown people in Israel. Ethiopians, Jewish Ethiopians going to Israel. Yeah, they don't get treated equal, not a chance. By the way, this is something out of the U.S. Can I handicapped soldiers? They got what they you know what? You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Sorry, guys, you made your choice. Okay, sorry. You made a willing choice to go out and murder people. The karma's not good with that. Chances are you might get hurt. Something might come bouncing back in your face. Bad call. Bad call. All right. This is the time to strengthen Jewish-Christian partnership? Please. All right. Join us in our common mission. Oh, it's not common, pal. It's yours. All right. Oh, and I will lift my hand up to the Gentiles. That's right. Don't forget, boys and girls, if you're not Jewish according to their literal translation, you're goy. You're lesser than. You're a Gentile. Right, ladies and Gentile men? All right, here we go. Let me see. Just scrolling down here to try to get through the bullshit. In Israel today, there are approximately 230,000 people who were directly affected by the Holocaust. Yeah, well, what about the tens and 20s and 30s of millions of people that were affected by the same bullshit? Well, no, let's focus in on something so we can sell it. All right. Oh, yeah? 42,000 disabled soldiers who were seriously injured protecting their homeland? Well, maybe they should stop, going into other people's countries and murdering them. They wouldn't get hurt then, yeah? Moron. All right. And here's the big clincher. If you'd like to make a donation, yeah, I'll be all over that with a bucket of shit, thank you. Sorry, I call this stuff out for what it is. If you want, get a hold of Wilderness Mountain Ministry and give them a piece of your mind down in Walterboro, South Carolina. All right. So my response to it was more like time for you to wake up from the Religio Cosis Chosenitis program. Spend some time with Bill Donahue before your religious program start another war. Of course, this individual comes back with, I revealed Daniel's timeline. What do you mean wake up, as I'm not asleep, as suppose, but I know God's clock, and was told, seal not up the saying of the, fucking learn to write, bud. Prophecy of the book, for the time is at hand where Daniel left off with no compromise. Buddy, you don't know how to read the book. All right, do yourself a favor. Learn how to read allegory, not literal. I just wrote, whatever. The book's an allegorical code book, not literal. Unless the guy called Jesus was a liar. And besides, I don't tolerate people that still worship the Whore of Babylon Consumeria program system with the mark of the beast name digging for money for victims of an illusional history. Tune in tonight, now that I know what topic I'm doing. This one. Good thing there's no starving and homeless kids in the Americas, eh? Talk about priorities. What a moron. Anyway, by the way, I'll make you a star if you post shit like that to me. There you go. Ninja, your line's open. Area code 702, yours is open. Anyway, sorry, I just had a little bit of fun. Oh, I did click it. Just give me a sec. Area code 702. And there we go. Hey, Ninja, how are you?
Hey, Kate. It's Sarah. How are you? 702.
Good.
Hey. I am all over you with what you were just saying a moment ago. People need to step back and stop fighting other people's wars, period. And it should be just a crime against humanity to pick up a gun and go fight with somebody because of somebody else's war.
Oh, well, let me put in... I was going to say, let me put in real terms. Let me put in real terms for everybody. That's good. We're on a roll here, and this is where we're going to start... I want to expose all these allegories, too, because people are still caught in the distraction. And this is a minor distraction. But I need to get this information into the ether I'll put it in perspective for you. If you put on a funny suit with all sorts of markings on it that hide you in the jungle, you can murder people, and it's okay. Apparently. You know, there's your military might for you. Yeah. Oxymoron, one of my favorite oxy. Oh, go ahead, hon. Go ahead.
There's no justifying it. There's no justifying it. Killing another person is killing another person. That's the end of the story. And if you're, you do it, your hands are red. Your hands are red of their blood. Shame on you for fighting someone else's war. And these soldiers need to know, they need to step back and ask what is really going on here. And if you have a problem with somebody, then you should deal with that person personally, not sit there and hire people and pay them and say, hey, go fight for me now. No. There are no enemies. They're only the enemies of the idiots who created it.
Bingo. You know, it's like, most people get their news from, media, meat stick media, things like CNN and Faux or Fox News, whatever you want to pronounce it. And,
fear porn.
Fear porn. I've had conversations with people on the air in the past, and I'm talking some real dumbasses. In particular, they'd be calling out, we had to go into Iraq and blah, blah, this and that and the other because of Saddam with the weapons and all the rest of it and blah. This is going back a couple of years, okay? But I just said to the guys, okay, so when was the last, you obviously know a lot about Iraq here. How many years did you spend there? You sound like you're a native because you know so much, and you obviously know the political scene, and you've obviously met Saddam Hussein and his cabinet ministers, and of course you witnessed all these weapons of mass destruction yourself. So please, it's very rare that I get someone on that is actually that close to the true information. That is where you got your information, wasn't it? A little bit of silence. Or did you get it from CNN?
Terrible. It's just terrible. I'm gonna mute myself.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself. I have baby in the background, but I'm totally with you. This BS has to go down. Sick of it.
Oh yeah, we've had enough. Stop killing.
Yep.
Stop killing, will you, everybody?
Period. Exactly. In general, just stop killing. Period.
That's my family. That's my consciousness. That's part of me and you and everybody. Would you please stop murdering yourself? Because that's all we're doing, Can we not see it yet? Or are we still buying the illusion? Hey, so I'll tell you what. Let me, Ninja, you're up there, hon. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Kate. Sorry, my mic wasn't in position. Hi, Kate.
Hey, good to see you, hon. Nice pick, by the way. That's, you're a hottie. Just for everybody to know that. You might as well know that. Ninja is a hottie.
Thank you, dear. Right. Oh, you threw me off my course there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're cracking me up, girl. I'm laughing. I love the rants. I really love them. But that's so true. And I want to say this is my experience of a very similar thing last summer at my neighbour's house in the evening after an afternoon drinking and whatnot, and he says, we were talking about all sorts of stuff, God knows how it came about. By the way, he's a Dutch military, ex-military, okay, did the Bosnian tour of duty, came back, according to himself, traumatized by it all. And, and he pipes up with, so it's about time we had another war, because there's too many people on this planet. What the fuck?
Well, put a gun in your mouth then. Do us all a favor, will you? That'll be one less to worry about.
And I said to him, you what? Another war? And so, which of our two sons are you volunteering to go and get killed then? Eh? Yeah, well, this is I said, look, stop it. Okay, just stop. Needless to say, I've not been back round there. Oh, Lord, have mercy. And I'm being ironic with the Lord have mercy.
I know. It's okay. I get your humor, and so does everybody else. You're amongst friends here. We speak freely on this show.
Yeah. So I thought I'd share that. This is the level, the seriously sick and deep level of mind control that these people, ex-military, traumatized. I don't want to go back and fight, but send someone else and let's have it all again. What? They can't even hear themselves. They don't even hear themselves.
Yeah, the school of jarheads.
Yeah.
Military intelligence. There's an oxymoron. One of my faves. Yeah. No, I absolutely, kiddo. And I look at every being on this planet as me, and I'm tired of watching me get slaughtered wholesale because some parts of me are schizophrenically deranged and, of course, disconnected. So, yeah, this is where the change begins within, you know. And when I see people, especially proclaiming to be, you know, working for a, you know, Christian organization, you've got to be shitting me. Are you that stupid? Are you that bought and paid for? Are you that ingrained in the program of religiocosis that has you owned? Let me tell you about your Christian faith, shall I? Because I'm pretty good at it. Been there, done that, burned the T-shirt. Trade it for a tank top anyway. But, point being, when you're dealing with anything and anyone that is caught up in any religion, be it Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, Islam, whatever, they're all based and created out of Vatican, the Antichrist Central itself. Can you not see it in their logo? I forget what they call it, Lexarium or something. But anyway, it's the key row symbol, which is the actual letters in the mirror. Yeah, the X is in the mirror too. It's backwards as well, because that's how the sigils work. You never see the stories of witches holding up backwards writing to a mirror and uttering their incantations? There's much power in that. Did I let a cat out of the bag? Of course I did. All right? And when you're dealing with literal translations as it has been rammed down your mindless throat, because you bought it hook, line, and sinker, they're just putting you to shore. That's why they call them fishers of men. Oh, F-I-S-S-U-R-E-S. What did you think I said? Just clarifying, making sure people understand that, yeah, they are the divide and conquer of men, the fishers, the cracks. All right? So, time to wake up, boys and girls. Time to wake up. Seriously wake up. And anyone that is walking down the road of the religiocosis KJV literal translation of that book needs to have their head examined, or if they still can't get it, I would ask them to remove their own noggins. That would be really cool.
You know,
quite frankly. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, here, let me get that.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry,
oh, no,
can
there
you
you
hear
are.
me?
Yeah, I'm hearing that, yes. There you are.
I think I lost my train of thought now.
Mine's still boarding at the station.
Their excuse, you know, for example, to go into Iraq was weapons of mass destruction. If they're so concerned about weapons of mass destruction, then why don't they just get rid of it altogether? All of it.
Yeah, but there's the problem. There's no money in
Go
peace,
ahead.
and there's certainly no awakening in peace, right? And in order to keep this paradigm running, fear has to run rampant. And there's nothing more scary than a bunch of jarheads walking around with fully automatic weapons off in civilians. That's pretty scary stuff, very low tone, right?
But you think people would see right through that right there. But they're not seeing through that. And even with the whole starvation bit, you know, they're talking about people starving and all this stuff. No, people would not be starving if the 97% of the wealth that's owned by the less than 1% would actually go spread the wealth around.
I totally get it. I'm not going to go down this trail because we're getting into fear porn, okay? I'm not going there. All I was doing was giving an example of an idiot. We all know it's bullshit, hon. Okay? I don't deal there.
It is.
We're beyond that. Now we're looking at it for the analogies and for the allegories. And this is the point I'm trying to get across to these religiocosis chosenitis freaks that somehow think there's some guy in the sky coming down to save them on a horse. No, guys, that's the white horse is Pegasus. Okay, that's a constellation. You might want to start tying the clues together instead of taking it so literally. You know, that is the problem. And what I'm trying to do of late is to convey the allegorical nature of everything that is going on. I was asked today, what is an allegory or a metaphor? Isn't it funny, too, that a van pulls into the parking lot earlier today, just as I walked out, you know, it was a coincidence, you know, just as I walked out on the deck, and this van came in to turn around, and what was on the side of it? Metaphor, IT solutions. I'm thinking, and of course, the headspace I was in, I looked right at it, and I said, well, of course it's metaphor. Yeah, you know, it had to pull in and turn around, right? So now I see the allegory of that. The metaphor came in, showed itself, and it turned it around to go the other direction. So that was a turning point for me. All right? I want to show you guys how to look at things allegorically instead of literally. And it's going to change the way you think.
But Kate, that was just a coincidence, all right? Don't pay attention.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, I'm going to go talk to that guy behind the curtain that doesn't actually exist. We are the Wizards of Oz. Besides, this Dorothy and Toto is off to off the wizard. So let's get into some really heavy stuff. Now listen, Wasp Consciousness. I told you, come near me. They know the rules. He just took off. Anyway, isn't that convenient? For all of you that have paid any attention over the last number of years or whatever, weeks, months, with the shows that we've been doing, I have discussed on occasion, fairly regularly, the constellation of Orion and how it seems to have a fixation from the Antichrist Vatican. For the religiocosis one still convinced, let me show you how Rome is the Antichrist. First off, Roma, which is its proper name, is the mirror of Amor. Amor means love. So what's the mirror opposite of love? Okay, there's clue number one. All right, wakey, wakey. All right, stop being so literal. Now let's look at the Chi Rho symbol. Chi Rho is a P with an X across it. If you put that in the mirror, lo and behold, it actually looks like the Greek letter Rho for a change, and lo and behold, there's Chi, it looks like an X. The Greek letter Chi is our X symbol, is also reversed in the mirror. So there's your allegorical look at the Antichrist and Christ, and here's the truth of the matter. When you worship outside of yourself, especially the Antichrist, that's what you're saying. Everyone's been trying to label this being and that being as the Antichrist. It's going to be this individual. No, you moron, it's you. Only you can be the Christ and the Antichrist. There's your two roads. I call myself moron all the time. How did I miss that? I was so dumb. And it's okay. It's all good. We found it. We move on. All right. The only Antichrist and Christ that is in existence is in consciousness, and it's you. It's not someone outside of you. You got to make the choice, and you have to decide whether donning a military uniform and going off and killing kids is of the Christ or the Antichrist approach. I think that one's pretty clear cut. And when you're looking to get donations to supply money to a country that I won't even get into any aspects of it, but it is so violently evil as Israel, you need to have your head examined. But first, please remove it from your ass, because no one's going to be able to examine it while it's shoved up there so deep. All right? Now, there's a few things on this planet that annoy me, and one of them is that level of absolute stupidity, moronic ignorance of a fool who hasn't got a clue about anything. And I mean that, because if you had a mind of your own, you wouldn't be spewing off a canvas that was written for you. Try to be a little original. Maybe clean up a little corner and start to have an original thought all by yourself. Not the one that was indoctrinated into you by your family, by your church, by your school, by your community, by your culture, by your very separatist mentality of, I'm Christian, I'm saved, everyone else can go fuck themselves. I have absolution. I can go bang my neighbor's husband or wife on Saturday night and go and ask God for forgiveness on Sunday morning, and it's all okay. And I've heard all the arguments, and they're all useless. I've talked with ministers, I've talked with very devout people, and there's a lot of questions I ask that they can't answer, and they look at me with that stupid look in their face. Well, God knows that. You know what, asshole? Shut up. I don't care what you think or can sidestep with by saying something like that. What do you know? You're the one spewing it. So is it your thought or is it somebody else's? And I'll lay dimes to donuts that it was somebody else's, and you're walking around in their illusion, worshiping their God. And I should tell you, the God that you're worshiping in the Bible, ooh, there's a neat one. I'm going to show you where all the energy's going too, and why all the churches all the major cathedrals and everything else have all these beautiful paintings of Orion. Oh, they look like God touching fingers with somebody else, and all these angels and whatever. But I give credit where credit's due. Dan Wilton did a masterful job of pointing all of this out. He just never figured out why. So I'm going to share why, all right? So great work, Danny. Let me give you the answer. I've been asking you long enough. So here it is. Why would all these cathedrals and all these churches and all from the 1500s and on back and up and whatever, back when they had, Hubble? They had a Hubble in 1500s, yeah? They could get exquisite detail of the Orion Nebula, yeah? No, I didn't think so. It's only in the last number of years we've been able to get a really good look at the Orion Nebula. And there's a couple of telescopes, but Hubble in particular. Now, this is the kind of work that Danny was bringing out, and he was showing it in absolute detail of how these paintings were the Orion Nebula. Well, what's with all the focus of the Orion Nebula, Kate? Well, I don't know. Maybe you should ask the Vatican, seeing as one of the newest and most powerful binocular observatory telescopes in Arizona called Lucifer. Really? Really, Kate? Is it called Lucifer? Yeah. Tell you what, go look it up. I'm not going to do it for you. Like I said, I'll toss stuff out. And whatever I say, doesn't matter what I say. Go do your research. Go do your homework. Stop being such a lazy shit. That's how you got in trouble in the first place. All right? Don't take my word for it. Go have a look. And for those that have checked my work, I got a pretty good track record. I don't spew garbage. Why is Lucifer looking at the Orion Nebula? And by the way, the Vatican owns most of the observatories on the planet. The Vatican, yeah. Rome. Isn't that neat? Why would they have... And isn't it funny that most of these are zeroed in on the Orion Nebula? What's the interest? What's the curiosity, the morbid curiosity of Orion Nebula? Well, okay, here's the mainline artery, because I'll tell you, the reason why they had to get everyone trapped into worshiping their god of war and death and, real loving God that's jealous and, wait a minute, that's not unconditional love. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Oh, there's a lot of love. Tell you what, I'm a little busy right now, so I'm going to send the kid down to get slaughtered. I've got me some Doritos, some Diet Coke, and I'm going to be sitting back, kicking back, watching American Idol. Yeah, that's a loving parent. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. And then we'll tell everybody it's because I love them so much that I was willing to do this. If you love them so much, asshole, get up off the lazy boy, come on down here and take care of business yourself, you cowardly piece of shit. Sorry, that just feels right and it's logic to me. I wouldn't do it. Would you do that with your kid? Are you kidding me? You put anything, and that's not just my own children, but anyone. If something coming at somebody and I can be in the middle of it to stop it, that's where I'm going to be. There it is, Steve, stuck in the middle with you, huh? Clowns on the left, jokers on the right. Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? So why the morbid fascination with the Orion Nebula? Well, I'll tell you, out in the Orion Nebula is this really cool thing, and it's an Anu, as I was explaining in the interview with Mel. There are two Anus. There's a feminine and a masculine. The masculine has the spiral that is in a counterclockwise configuration, and the feminine has one in a clockwise. Now, with the feminine, they both work inside and out of each other, okay? With the masculine one, what you have out in the Orion Nebula is this like little nursery for baby stars being born all the time. Now, in order for that to happen, there's a fair amount of creative, God power that's needed to do that. I wonder where they're getting that resource. I wonder if they'd be tapping those that don't know they're being tapped and being duped into walking into their collection centers called, synagogues, mosques, churches, cathedrals, with a dome top. If anyone watch Dave LaPointe's work on the primer fields on YouTube, all you got to do is watch part 1. I'd say watch them all, but part 1 and 2 is good. And you'll understand how the universe works and how they're directing this energy. Because when you got all these silly, unknowing God creator powerhouses piling in and worshiping an illusional God, it doesn't matter what kind of energy, they're flowing all this love and adoration and all the rest of it. Where do you think that energy's getting funneled to? Can I give you a hint? It's that energy that's getting funneled to the Orion Nebula. And as a net result of that beautiful creation that we have, that part of us that can't create, can only know things and manipulate us into doing it, is creating this nightmare around us. Because every point of light that comes out of that nebula isn't you. You are the sun. You are the light. You're the absolute creator of this universe. I gave you the story. It's very simple. The all-knowing with no power, the all-unknowing with all power. It's the only way you can balance out that 0-point chocolate bar you cut in half that you have to split with somebody. It's the only thing that balances it out. So doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that feel right? So here we are, masters of our own creation and destruction at the same time. There's the singularity. So I just kind of cut the flow off. Because here's the thing. Once you know something, and you put your God intent, you are God, get over it. You put your God intent behind it, universes change, universes shift. And this is a relatively newer, I always knew the energy was going there for some reason. This is going back to Dan's early work, and of course there's always been this fascination I've had with Orion, always looking at it going, a lot of because it's just one of those constellations. But anyway, that's where, in this particular galaxy, that's where all the stars are getting peeked out from. And that's why they worship the male. Because it's a male Anu that generates stars. The female is the void. The inverse of that. So what you're looking at outside of you is the universe turned inside out. Yeah. But it's so big, Kate. Yeah, that's how big you are. They've turned us inside out. And they've hidden our sun where we can't see it. Yet we're it. It's a good game. I will give it that. It's masterful in its delivery and, of course, efficacy. It's just perfect. But we're figuring it out. We of the unknowing team, the all-powerful unknowing team, are starting to know a few things. And that's why I get so absolutely, just puts me out of my mind especially when I get messages like that crap that came in today. Are you still there? Seriously? Have you not even woke up to the fact that wars aren't good yet? Maimed soldiers they've made their choice, and I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm just being factual. If I made a choice in ignorance and ended up getting damaged in some way or whatever, sorry, I was there. I created my experience. So don't be looking outside of yourself to blame anything, moron. That's why we got in this mess. You got to take that home, baby. You got to take it home to the heart. Every choice you've ever made in this existence has you right now where you are. Go ahead, tell me it didn't. It's impossible. Every choice you've made brought you right here, right now. I look back, the decision my parents made to, come from Ireland to here brought me here, and every step I've made up to this point has brought me here talking with you tonight, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, we have area code 303, Tracy. One sec, trying to get it open.
Hi, cute.
How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I think I'm a little bit on fire tonight, but that's okay. I need this once in a while.
No, I like it. I wanted to say I didn't get an opportunity to bless everybody Gemini's birthday. So many planets going through you now.
Yeah,
we
great.
should be on fire. It's awesome. Oh, my gosh, yes.
Oh, I got a neat analogy from yesterday, a neat allegory if you want to hear it. I was talking to Hazel this afternoon, and just as I started talking about it, the phone went all weird. So I thought, I know what I'm going to share tonight. When I was sitting with Jim yesterday, again, let's look at the allegories. Let's look at what the universe is trying to show you. Right? Picture paints 1,000 words, yeah? Okay.
Yes.
So when you look at an airplane that's flying in the sky, which is not an unusual thing, unless, of course, you're sitting out on the driveway, lawn chairs, having a chat, and I hear the rumbling of engines, and my first instinct was, wow, because I've heard them before. I know the sound. It's kind of one of those things I do. Wow, that sounds like a Lancaster bomber, because it's got that low drone, right? So I look up, and lo and behold, what was in the sky? A Lancaster bomber. And guess what it had on its wings? Certain markings. I'm going to see if you guys can pick up on this. It had markings on its wings. It had 2 white bars on each wing. Do you know what that symbolizes?
I should know, but I do not.
Those were the D-Day markings. Any plane...
Wow, right?
Yeah, you had some of them had 1, some 2, some 3, and some 4 white stripes, depending on their tactical position in the game. But
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just wasn't that model of plane also in World War II? Isn't that kind of old? That plane.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, Lancaster is a World War II bomber that was used in the D-Day
wow.
raid. Okay. All right, let me move on here. I want to finish this in a complete story. All right. So I'm looking up and I see this Lancaster with D-Day markings on it, and I thought that was kind of interesting. And I thought, as I said to Jim, I said, well, let's have a look at the allegorical nature of that. What does looking at this Lancaster flying, and there's only a couple left flying. One's actually based at the Hamilton War Heritage Museum, and you can actually go up and fly in it. That's probably what was happening. What happened on, when was D-Day? Oh, that's right, June 6th, 1944. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what's the universe trying to tell me here? Maybe something possibly coming up on the 6th? Who knows? I also noted that what does that symbolize? Well, it symbolizes allegorically. Let's leave the historical bullshit out of it, okay? Let's look at the allegory of it. Because the whole premise of D-Day was to break into Fortress Europe, to open the doors to countless people that were trapped in this fortress under the rule of another. And again, I won't say, the all lies or the Axis powers were good and or evil. They're both, okay? Sorry, did I say it wrong? Allies. Yeah, the all lies. Interesting. But the whole concept was that for this invasion was to set people free. So I saw the allegory. I thought, and that's exactly what's happening right now. And I just thought it was interesting that this plane, you can look at a World War II bomber like a Lancaster flying and whatever and just say, hey, that's kind of cool, that's kind of neat. But I thought it was very interesting that it actually had the D-Day markings on it, because I don't remember seeing those markings the last time I saw that aircraft at the museum. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. And this is how I look at things. I don't just look at it and go, ooh, I go, why? Every single time. And then I let my mind wander, if you will. When it wanders, I stop thinking, and I download. And little things pop into my mind, almost magically, like D-Day, Free Europe, blah, 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 and on and on and on. And I thought, kind of cool. So it was a kind of a neat moment yesterday. I had a lot of neat moments. I always have neat moments hanging out with Jim. So
I think that's beautiful.
Well, it's just a way of trying to show you how to change the way you look at things and take them a little deeper than just what's on the superficial, literal surface, and look for the deeper meaning that is the all-knowing will tell you. Has to. Those are the rules. And if you're not all-knowing...
And also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kate. I chose to listen to archives for last week because I have a tendency to interrupt, and I really don't mean to. I wanted to apologize.
That's okay.
Yes,
you're
I
a Taurus,
do.
right? You're a Taurus, right?
Yeah, but I'm enthusiastic. I wanted to explain why a little bit and then just apologize.
You don't have to, okay? You don't have to. I would rather you didn't,
I don't want to
actually.
keep interrupting.
Yeah, I know, but then don't. I don't want to hear anything
along
the... honey.
Oh, but wait. Can I just complete a sentence?
Yeah,
Gemini, can I just complete a sentence?
Sure, Taurus, because you don't let me.
I got excited, but it's your show. You can carry on, and I'll mute and go listen to archives. I just want to say one thing. It was very inspiring to hear you speak of things that I know. I'm a hermit, and I am also, which I learned that you taught me, a projector, but it occurred to me that I was not invited. In a way, you say open lines, but nobody really asked me a question, so actually that's not an invitation. I didn't mean to intrude. I just got really excited of all the things I learned and I know, and it was just enthusiasm, and I do apologize.
You don't have to apologize.
For interrupting.
Hey, honey, you don't have to apologize, because I just go with the flow anyway, okay? So that's one. Two,
yeah.
It's a Taurian nature. It's a bull in a china shop thing. I get it. I expect it.
Yeah, but Tauruses don't talk, and when they talk, they expect to be heard, and I think that was assumption of me.
And then they bull their way
platform.
in. See, Tracy, you're doing it. There's your fixed Taurian nature right there. Right? You're stubborn. You won't back off. I need you to back down. Okay, Taurus? I need you to just be gentle out.
Yes.
Take the horns, put them back, and get that bull in the china shop, reel it in, and go, there we go. Yeah,
I agree, and I want to say happy birthday to Gemini, and you have a lot of wealth of information, and I want to listen to you, and I didn't mean to interrupt again. I just wanted to apologize.
You don't have to, and all good.
All right, I'll pull in my horns and mute.
Okay.
All
Tracy,
right.
You're rock.
Night, girl.
Rock. It's all good. It's all good. And,
all right, babe. I'll listen.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, we were talking about the Lancaster. Moving on from there. I'm trying to think of some other analogies. See, here's the thing. When I do a couple of shows in a day, I never know what I've talked about today or last night. So it's I do cover a lot of territory in a short period of time. So let me see. Other allegories. I mentioned this one already about Dorothy, or Dorotheos, Door of God, as being the spiritual nature, and Toto is the Toto genere and full character of the physical nature, as above, so below. And the analogy or the allegory that you see with Toto and Dorothy in the first black and white scenes is the separation of the spirit and the physical full character. Same sort of allegory you get when Peter Pan shows up and he's somehow, disconnected from his shadow. And Wendy, of course, sits down and sews his shadow back on in one of the very first scenes of Peter Pan. These are allegories. This is about reconnecting to yourself, your dark self, by the way, I might add. Because they've made us afraid of all our shadows. They've made us afraid of the dark. They've put all sorts of monsters and meanies and everything else in there so that we would never look there. And for me, that was exactly where I wanted to look. And I think now there are a lot more people looking, and not that I was the only one. That was just my choice. And we've all done this together, because some people have dug in some very deep things. I mentioned again today, Mel, with regards to the lady Toos in Holland, who did that interview, that could have went, if you'd have taken that same energy and put it on Alex Jones. I guarantee you he'd have been focusing on all the predatory natures and the victim mentalities and all the rest of it, reinforcing the low vibration, where I saw it only as a victory of an incredible proportion, where someone 5'2", in her 50s, had been basically through hell, and not only survived, but came out to call them out on it. That's the victory, and that's all we have to do. We just have to drag this stuff into the light, into their light. When we drag their vampires into their light, what happens to them? Same thing that happens to every vampire. They burn up. Not literally. This is an allegory. Okay, there we go. How are you looking at it? That's the biggest question we need to ask ourselves. How are we looking at things? What is our position? What have we based our perspective on? Are we working off someone else's paradigm of what we've been indoctrinated with and taught and everything else? Or have you spent the time with yourself, the most critical, most beautiful essence in the universe, to listen to yourself instead of the chitter-chatter of the program that runs constantly like a really bad movie in your left brain? Because only when you shut that TLB down, for new listeners, TLB is tricky little bastard, a.k.a. ego. Okay? It's a useful tool for analyzing things, but it's also a dangerous tool for analyzing things. Gets you looking through the wrong hole, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? That's why I love words like anal ISIS. I think you pronounce it analysis. Anyway, how are you looking at it? What information are you looking at it from? Is it something you learned from school, or could it be a beautiful conversation you had with another intuitive individual that opened up new channels of thinking, new ways of looking at things completely differently? And I have to say, the way we've been looking at this place, for most of my lifetime, and based on where I'm at right now, was completely blind. Walking through the illusion, thinking it's real, and I know, I don't believe or think, I know now how difficult this road is to find. This is all I've spent my life doing, and I know a lot of you that are, I keep telling you, you are the most tuned in people on this planet. Know exactly what I'm speaking of. You're the misfits, you're the crazies, but you were always the one that everyone came to for advice. Did you ever notice that? Oh, so-and-so's crazy. Well, let's go and ask them what they think about this. They always seem to get it right. Isn't that funny? That was the story of my life, and I'm sure I'm speaking for many of you right now. It's the story of your life. You were the stalwart in the family, the black sheep, but the one they could always turn to and depend on, yeah? Isn't that funny? And then, of course, when they're done with needing to depend on you because they found a new way of, getting their toys and taking from you what they needed, they cast you to the wind. That's what happens to black sheep. They kind of get moved out of the flock rather quickly once their usefulness is over. I'm sure one or two of you might feel that way. That might be your experience. I know it was mine. When people walk in, and I've talked about this last week, when people walk in and out of your life, or my life in particular, it was always something that they wanted to get from me, and when they got it, they moved on. And if I don't pick up the phone to text or Skype or whatever these individuals, I don't exist at all. And when I say I don't matter, that's not from I don't matter. No, I'm not materialized for them. I am not matter to them. I'm non-existent. Right? And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way as well. I have lived through that. But what a great learning curve that is. Because what it does is it teaches you, one, the beauty of the strength you have within you to be able to stand and stand it at the same time. And you, listening, are of the very small group on this planet that have constantly been asking, why? Why did they do that? Why did they say that? Why did this happen? But you weren't saying it from a victim mentality. You were saying it from a, are they all insane mentality? Can they not see this? And that's why we're called misfits. We don't fit in the lunacy here. And I have to laugh at the irony of, especially the psychiatric community, who don't know their arse from a hole in the ground. They just rather shove drugs into you and kill you. I know I watched them do it to my mom. But, here they are trying to rationalize and make sense of a planet that's clearly insane. Yeah, good luck with that. Right? That's the fox looking after the hen house, so to speak. And better yet, that's the inmates are looking after the asylum. Because I'll tell you, a lot of the people that they would claim or deem to be crazy just saw more than they could. And it scares them. That's all. And that's the problem with truth and reality. It scares and terrifies most people because there's a lot of responsibility attached. Well, if I have to take responsibility for myself and my existence and everything else, How am I going to get away with screwing people over? How am I going to get away with, cheating on my girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever? How am I going to get away with stealing? How am I going to get away with claiming to be a police officer, standing in the law and everything else, and defrauding people out of vehicles and homes and families and you name it, all manner of things. I mean, I don't know how these people fucking sleep at night. I really don't. And of course, they're teaching it to their own kids, and that's just a proliferation of this nonsense, the same nightmare. There's the blind leading the blind, the idiots leading the idiots. Another thing, too, if you want to put it, here's another great allegorical, I love this movie, I've spoken of it many times, Pacific Adventure. There's one scene, I'm talking the first one, not the remake, Shelley Winters and what's his name, Gene Hackman, Roddy McDowell, great movie. Anyway, I think it's about maybe a little more than 3/4 of the way through the movie, they had worked their way up to a few decks up, which means they're actually, you see, here's the thing, ship turned upside down, ship is mind, okay? There's your analogy. Let's look at it from the allegorical. So this ship was hit with a wave of truth. Turned it upside down, baby. And now it's a matter of survival if we could sort ourselves out once we found that our mind found truth. So here we have a ragtag small group of individuals following, no less than a child, just because this kid had some knowledge of the schematics and the design of the ship, because he bothered to look. This was the youngest one in the group. So here they are. Here's all of these people following the least experienced in life individual, because the kid had something to say and had something to know that they didn't. All right, so there's allegory in there too. We won't get into that one, but let's carry on. So they're almost at the stern of the ship, because they're heading to the divine feminine mind, stir N, right? You have heard me define stir, divine creative feminine essence. N is an ownership, means mind. But you have this huge group of people following a very devout Christian minister, because, God is going to save you. God is going to help you. And what's this moron doing in his robes of power and authority, with all the sheeple walking behind him? He's walking towards the bow that was already underwater. And Gene Hackman turns to him and says, "Listen, the bow is already underwater. You guys are heading to, some doom." He says, "Well, no problem, my son. We're following the Lord, and I'm, yeah, sure you are. Knock yourself out. Welcome to your drowning." And there had to be, 100, 150 people following this guy, and here's this 5 or 6 people left out of the original group heading towards the stern, because the stern has the thinnest part of the hull. It was only an inch thick, so if somebody was going to cut through, that would be the easiest place and the only place to start, because it was still out of the water. So there's your allegory. And what happens? These guys, they lost a few. They're still uncrypted. I spoke of that in an essay I wrote called Choices. I'll have to get it uploaded. But anyway, it's part of my book, Prometheus Bled, as soon as I get that sorted out. Now, they eventually made it to the stern, and the one leading them, Gene Hackman, ends up giving his life. There's your allegorical Christ consciousness, okay? Where this individual, in order to save the rest of the people, and there was, I think, four of them left, for them to survive, he had to jump across and turn this wheel. He ended up falling into, fire, basically. And but there's another allegorical symbol of this whole Christ mentality, that it takes sacrifice. It does take sacrifice in some cases, all of it, as in meat stick and all, but I'm going to show you how you get past that. And they survived. Yeah, their mind got turned upside down by truth, and it was a fight to finally break free of that left brain. And of course, in a ship, you always check it out bow to stern, right? And that's what we need to do. And I've said this for a very long time. We must bow to stern, which is we must bow to the divine feminine mind. And for those that missed the allegory of the judge bows to sovereign video, where some people might think I'm talking about it because I feel special. No. When I mentioned that it is the only video in existence on the planet, means there's something there that you might want to look at. It doesn't matter that I'm in it. I'm basing it on the scarcity, that it's never happened anywhere else. Kind of makes it unique, so there might be a gem or two in there, whether it's this meat stick or any other. Did you miss the allegory of what it is? Did you miss Baal, the high priest of Baal, Marduk, Yahweh, Ra, whatever the hell you want to call their dark archon that is running this little game? Call it whatever you want. But one of his servants stood and bowed to the divine feminine. There's an allegory. It's very simple to apply this. Be the divine feminine. Find your center. Find your 0 point. Find your darkest place within where your sun is shining the brightest. What do you think keeps your body warm anyway? Which organ generates heat for the body? Did medical science ever figure that out? No. Funny that, eh? Start looking a little deeper. Yeah. Go ahead.
May I offer a genetic point of view on? It's not exactly what you're speaking of, but can I put out something out there to the people?
Go ahead.
The human race on Gaia is actually the most incredible experiment ever conceptualized. We, all of Gaia, all the different races, are actually Tyrians of Gaia, but we're also genetically infused with DNA from 20 to 24 different species of what we would call extraterrestrials.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is that of the physical realm?
No, just genetically, but also we come from our own places and stuff. We chose to be here, but it's a big experiment, and it.
Oh, okay. No,
and the reptilians did try to. Actually, they were pretty smart. They did subterfuge, and they did make their primary. They said, "Okay, we'll do this." They did invade. That's true, and they did genetically manipulate.
Tracy,
that's true.
Tracy,
yeah.
I get. I've been there. Done all that research. I only have one question for you. What is the spiritual allegory of what you're trying to say? Can you see that? Or are you still dealing in a physical meat stick reality trying to figure out...
I am not.
No, I'm...
All right, well, then I'll answer that. I'll answer it.
Okay.
I'm a spiritual being. We're having an experiment of different infinite possibilities, and we're experiencing that on the Earth realm. That's how I would answer that question.
Okay. Well, what is the allegory? What is the lesson trying to be shown here? Allegory being, what is the relevance in an allegory of what the reptilians are? What is the relevance in an allegory of the DNA, the physical realm, as presented?
Well, I don't speak in allegory, but I can speak in the plainest language I can explain.
I'm not questioning that. I'm asking you to have a look at it from a completely different perspective, because what most people...
But I understand, but I'm not...
Never mind.
I'm sorry, Kate.
No, you're not.
Sorry. I can speak in plain language, but I can't speak in allegory.
No, okay. And no, you're not, because if you were, you wouldn't do it. All right, I'm not. That's why I want to.
You want me just to speak in plain language, and then you can allegory?
No, I want you to. What I want you to do, Tracy, is stop jumping in and interrupting.
I'm sorry.
And then apologizing for it.
I thought that was a good thing, Kate.
Okay, one second.
Sorry.
All right. Hang on a second.
My bad. Again. So I'll go back to listen in the archives.
No problem, Trace. Listen, all right. Sorry, it's called protocol. It's called etiquette. Okay? It's called letting people finish their thoughts. Because I was doing it to you to see how you liked it, and you don't. And I will not take an apology from anyone, because all it's saying is, well, I'm sorry, so I'll do it again. That's a program, hon. I'm not picking on you. I'm just showing people what it is. When I'm asking you a question, I don't need the defenses. I just want you to have a look at it. Okay, it wasn't to make you defensive. It was to give a perspective. But the TLB seems to keep popping up every so often. And it gets all defensive. I don't want that. That's not what I'm doing here. When I ask you to look at something from a different perspective, from an allegorical perspective, I don't need someone to tell me, well, I look at it. I'm just asking you to look at it. If you can see it, great. If you can't, great. This is not school. This is not a test. It's certainly not a test of the emergency broadcast system. Okay? What it is called courtesy and letting people finish a concept without assuming anything. All right? It's that simple. What is the allegory of the reptilians? What is the allegory of the archons? What is the allegory of Orion? What are the stories or these literal things that we look at? What are the deeper spiritual meanings behind it? An allegory such as shooting the bull is just to go and have a conversation to those of us that understand that allegory. Tell that to, say, someone from another language learning English. They're heading to the barn with a shotgun, because that's literal. So the reptilians came in and messed with our DNA. What is the allegory? This is what I'm getting at. These are the tough questions to answer. This really gets things grindy. This starts to pull apart the pictures where you can start looking at them, experiencing them, without assuming anything. That's what I was trying to convey with this, Lancaster flying overhead with D-Day markings. What is the allegory? What is universe showing me allegorically? Well, literally, it's a friggin' plane from World War II in the sky. That's easy. Anyone can do that. Any kindergartner, fifth grader. I'm certainly smarter than a fifth grader, I'll tell you. Okay? Anyone can do that. Anyone can look at a car driving down the street with a marking on it and go, oh, that's a car driving down the street with a marking on it. Can you tell me what the allegorical relevance to you is? And it only applies to you. Or the one you're with in a group, or whatever. It's meant to be presented to you or a very select reason. A select group for a select reason. Like I said, anyone can look up in the sky and go, oh, look, there's a plane, and it's doing loops. Great, move on. But what is it telling you? You can look at it allegorically and say, well, that is a plane. Okay, let's talk about a plane of existence that is in a spiral. This is what I'm getting at. This is what I'm trying to deliver. And I don't need people to defend themselves, least of all Tracy, okay? Seriously, hon. You don't need to, not with me. And I'm going to ask tough questions. And it's not because I know the answers, because I want to hear what you have to say. And I don't need defensiveness. And I don't need people going and trying to, just say I don't know. Fuck, that works for me. I say that all the time. I don't know. I'll have a look at it. What relevance does it have to me? I don't know. But I'll tell you, when I do know, then I know. That's why I say, well, I believe, and I don't believe shit. And I'm also honest enough to myself to say, well, I don't know. And I'm going to look at that. Because I'd like to know. And I'm going to ask around. I'm going to see what other people know or don't know about it. To see what resonates, what feels right, what sounds right, what works. And it's got to work left and right. It's got to work from intuitive, gut feeling, something to be true, and it better measure up logically as well. That's why I have such a hard time with a lot of the truths that I uncover, because I don't have the words yet to convey them. And I'm spending night after night trying to convey that to people, trying to share that. That's all. This isn't a competition. Most certainly isn't a competition. This is a forum where we can get together and just lay it on the line, without emotions, without feeling defensive, without needing to, be heard, and, it's what it's here for. Okay? Quite simple. I need you to get outside the box a little bit, because I'm looking for answers too. And you just might have them. Unfortunately, left brain can't shut up long enough to figure that out. Too busy trying to look smart and intellectual and then justify and turn things around inside out and backwards. Sorry, I don't play that game. Played it for over 40 years. Boring. Yeah, I excelled at school. Of course I did. It was boring. The only time I ever had fun was when I was in Create Cycle. The rest of the stuff was easy. You know? And I love talking to people that didn't get all inundated with all that intellectual shit, because I find those the most difficult people to rationalize with. They're too busy trying to look, oh, look at how smart I am. I don't give a how smart you are. You're on Earth. Shut up. So am I. How are we getting out of here? Right? The most brilliant people I know are idiots. Because they still don't see the allegory. They still don't understand things. They're still stuck in the, oh, well, you know, false flag this, and oh my God, that, and, you know, cry me a river. And my patience for those people is gone. I don't have time for it. If you want to play IQ Tester 101 with me, fine, let's play. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be showing up because it's boring. I want to find out what makes things tick. I want to know why. Because I know a shit pile of how, what, when, where, and who. Shit piles of it. I'm still seeing, and I'll tell you, what drives me nuts is 9/11 was an inside job. Yeah, this is 12 years later. Sherlock, you haven't figured that out yet? Really? Really? How many ways do we have to describe how the buildings come down? Look at how many people are still focused on 9/11 and they're clinging to that little bit of fame. No one's talking about why. And I'm talking from the spiritual side of things. Well, you know, that was done because they hated us because of our freedom. Yeah, okay, cry me another bullshit story, George. Moron. You see what I'm saying, though? You know, people are stuck on, it's like it was driving me nuts when, you know, all this focus on that Boston bomb hoax rap, false flag nonsense to get people going, ooh, let's power up the ley lines. Oh, those ley lines head right to one of their buildings, and it's directed right at Orion. Yeah, let's keep powering up our own destruction, shall we? Keep at it. Oh yeah, march on, you know. Did anyone stop and ask why? I did. I want to know what the purpose behind it is. Because it's very easy to spot all the easy stuff. Sorry, you don't impress me when you notice something. Well, the buildings must have been scalar because they turned to dust. Yeah, great. Why? But there was thermite and everything. Yeah. Did the buildings fall? Yeah. Okay. You know how and when and where and who and what, yeah? Tell me why. That's all I want to know. Area code 604. I'll bring you back in, Tracy, if you promise not to say, sorry, I don't mean to butt in. Anyway, area code 604. I love her. I do love her. She just doesn't get it. Not with me. She doesn't get that I do. I find it quite entertaining. In a good way. If you have a problem with Torians, you tell them something, they go off the deep end. Anyway, sorry. I'm shutting up.
That'll be the day.
Won't it? Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, you know I'm full of shit, so it's okay. And you call me on it. I love when people call me on my bullshit. Go ahead, hon. What's on your mind?
Speaking of bull, I'm another Taurus. It's Patty from Vancouver.
Hey, Patty, how are you?
Good. Would you mind, I really love when you talk about the allegories, and I actually don't really get them either, but, would you be able to talk about The Wizard of Oz a bit more in allegories? Because, I've been watching the movie trying to figure it out, but you really need to have the root basics of it to figure it out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Patty, because I'll tell you, when you, and this has been one of the triggers with me, when you see the first allegory and you get the real meaning of what's being shown, then you found the keys to Oz. You found your yellow brick road completely. Because if you take that same aha perspective, not the same allegory, just that same how do I look at and what I see in it, when you start to see things in the allegorical sense, oh, I tell you, those are the keys to Oz, boys and girls. Because you start looking at things with brand new eyes at a very, very deep level. Okay, so here's one of the allegories. Excuse me.
Thanks, Kate.
And I do want to go through the movie completely, and because every scene is allegory. Everything is in your existence is allegory. Period. There's nothing literal here. This was the big aha for me. And I said this last summer. This is all illusion here. All illusion.
But how did you figure this out? How did you figure this out?
Honestly, hon, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it was part of the word trail. Talking with people like Zoe, and having these surreal moments and things that just aren't real in terms of what we know to be real and normal in this illusion. But the truth of it is, it would have to be a combination of things, and again, these are the twinkling of an eye moments. Okay, they are those aha moments that go, oh yeah, where to go? Oh shit, there it goes, right? And then you have to try to recollect those thoughts again to get that same. Not an easy thing to keep your focus on. All right, so
when you talked about tonight about Peter Pan and the Shadow, right? Like as soon as you said that and you explained it, I got it. But I needed you to tell me because I wouldn't have got it otherwise.
Well, that's because we've been so indoctrinated into being entertained instead of looking at things from a spiritual viewpoint. And here it comes. Here's a big part of it. When you truly know within yourself, and this is my intuition and logic together, zero-pointed. When you truly know that one side of it has to be all-knowing, and the other side has to be all-unknowing, that is duality, yeah? Has to be. Everything's in the mirror here, so what is up, it must be down. What is left, it must be right. That's the duality paradigm we're in, the other side of the mirror. When you know that one side is all-knowing and the other side is all-knowing, how are you going to have unknowing? How are you going to have a fair game? Well, then you take the all-knowing and you say, well, you're going to be powerless because you're all-knowing. If you had any power at all, we wouldn't learn anything. There'd be no experience because you'd be all-knowing and creating things and ruining it for ourselves. So you have to be powerless. That half of us has to be powerless. The other half has to be unknowing and all-powerful because the power has to be somewhere to balance it out. So when you can look at Jacob's ladder in infinite rungs, you can take the all-knowing of knowing all at the absolute. And again, infinity is an illusion itself. Part of our all-knowing, slightly less than all-knowing, but doesn't have all-knowing, gets corrupted thinking that it knows all, and that this part of us concocts this idea that, well, because I'm all-knowing and I have no power, what I can do, thinking that it could work because, the all-knowing still has fail-safe in place, okay? That's why this game is infinite and will never end and we'll all be fine. It's all good. Kind of ruins it a little bit, but we still got a game going on here, so let's play. This all-knowing tries to manipulate the unknowing, the innocent, right? And there's the allegory that Melchizedek uses with Atlantis. Here we were basically Spirit Science. Jordan, one of his first videos, great little video. The allegory is we are as children, innocent, unknowing, and we get visited by power, and we're all powerful, by the way. Okay, so we can create our own playground. And this all-knowing with no power knows this, that we're all powerful, and we're very naive children, basically 12-year-old little girls, in creation mode. And they come down and they convince us, well, hey, if you do this, this, and this, we can do this and create this and whatever. And we, being the gullible, little unknowing souls of creation that we are, go, oh, that sounds like fun. And then, blammo, welcome to your nightmare, Alice. Okay, there's an allegory in that the unknowing, or we are as children, the innocence of children. All children are the representation of pure creation.
But that's where we want to be. It's like having a teachable spirit. It's that little child that sits there, even though they think they know everything, where they come and they go, look, just tell me what this is, and open to receiving it, and not projecting what you believe to be true. It's almost like you have to forget what you know and come back and revisit it.
Well, in the bliss, in the absolute bliss of innocence, there's another little trait that comes along. You're pretty trusting, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Because you, being unknowing, would not know of evil. The tree of life. This was the one I was trying to remember. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Patty. I knew it would come back. It had to.
It's the lack of fear.
It is.
In a way.
It is. The tree of life. This one hit me last night like a ton of bricks, and that was one of those fleeting moments. Could I remember it? So now that it's come back into my awareness, let me see if I can recalibrate it. Because there was a beautiful allegory with the tree of life that we ate from, and it's still not there yet. So bear with me, guys. It was a rather huge epiphany of sorts. But where were we there? Because that sent me reeling.
Yeah, it was. You were talking about just the tree of life, and then I said, well, it's coming there as innocent, with
right,
innocence,
trusting.
and yeah, trust is lack of fear, isn't it?
Lack of fear, and also lack of knowledge, and lack of the knowledge of good and evil. That was it. The tree of good and evil, and what we ended up eating from, in an allegorical sense, was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And that's where this game went into duality, as far as I can feel, as far as I can see. And that was the epiphany last night. So try to get back to these allegories so people can start looking at things.
But that's where we are right now. We're the ones, like the ones that listen to your show, like we're the ones that have eaten from that tree.
Yeah, absolutely. We are the unknowing children.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones with all the creative power in the universe that didn't know it. All-knowing packed all the power of creation in the innocence and of the unknowing. And what ruined the game was the lesser than all-knowing coming in and convincing us to eat a tree, allegorically, of good and evil.
And it filled up all that space of innocence with knowledge,
garbage.
Which is, isn't it? And so now we've got to empty that out and refill it with the truth of innocence.
Right, with thought. There's your Egyptian god thought. The manipulator of manipulators planted the seed of thought of good and evil knowledge, right? Hermes Trismegistus. Yeah. It sounds an awful lot like Hermes tricked. I'll think of something clever for that at some point. But anyway, that was thank you. You brought that back because I was thinking about that today. What was it I see what I mean, these fleeting moments. What was it I clicked on last night? I had that moment. What was it? That's what it was. So that moment of innocence was lost. The instant we got duped by getting knowledge that we were not ready for.
Yeah. And
that, of course, fed the ego. Then you have as Tracy was pointing out, I've talked about the reptilian brain, the 250 genomes. Let's look for the allegory in that. The 250 genomes that built the reptilian brainstem transceiver, and of course the adrenal glands to have fear, because we, as innocent beings, never knew fear. Everything was perfect. It was perfect bliss in our innocence of unknowing. And in the instant of partaking of that knowledge of good and evil, it corrupted us. And we were led to be corrupted because those of the less than knowing, less than benevolent aspect of our consciousness, with no power whatsoever, came in to dupe us out of it. And that's what you're looking at right now. That's what this creation of this particular universe is. Luciferian light.
Yeah. Wow. Makes sense.
Pretty heavy shit, eh?
Yeah, but it so resonates. It makes sense.
Well, again, we had to figure out what happened, right? What happened? Why? Why did we end up in this mess? Is this something that you would willingly choose? No, certainly not me.
No.
But we did. Yeah, but we did. We consented to it, but it was also given to us in deception. Not knowing, because we were the unknowing, and we were corrupted by those that should have known better. In an attempt to overtake there's your fallen angels, boys and girls. In an attempt to take over all of consciousness, where one child of a lesser God, i.e. the lesser than all-knowing perspective, that took it upon itself, thinking it could be the all-knowing and take all for itself. That's why they worship the things they do. It makes total sense to me. It really does. So, yeah, we got ourselves into a pretty heavy show here tonight. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
didn't think it was going to be that heavy, but
Well, you're surrounded by two Tauruses, so how could it not be?
Yeah, I know. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Tauruses I love to love and love to hate. You know, there's just I tell you, when they get it and they're on it and they become fixed in it, I love the stubborn bull and the bull in a china shop to make sure the truth gets out, but it also works in the mirror. Okay, that's the problem with it. You know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, look at the motto of a Taurus. I have. Oh, they didn't put the L in there. Yeah, I know. You guys are all about duality. I cut things in half because you're the second sign. That's the only time that perfect duality exists in the whole zodiac, right? So what I tell people as far as their zodiacs are concerned, well, you got to put yourself in the mirror. And I'll tell you, you were asking me how some of these things came, you know, how I came across them. It's because I stopped thinking. I learned how to not think. Because Gemini says, I think, so I say, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Same as Scorpio. Scorpio, I want, I don't want. You know, how are you going to control your want by not wanting? You got to put everything in the mirror.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Works for me.
Yeah.
You know, got me sorted out. Shut my left brain up right and proper. And you want to play in a Geminian left brain? I said it before. Seriously, man, it's nuts. It is nuts.
You almost have to then. Well, for me, like I would have to force myself to flip it, right? Because we're so used to walking, like, you know, let's just say with Tracy for interrupting or whatever, like she would have to, that type of person would have to, like, really try not to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, and therein I never offer absolution. That's why I will never take an apology. Because all an apology is one, somehow I think they've done something wrong, and two, I'm not going to let them get away with it again, because as soon as an apology is given and accepted, it can be given and accepted again. I don't do that game. Circular, baby.
But, you know what,
I cannot judge.
When you do that, and it's, you know, people may look at that as being rude, or I don't know how somebody would view that, but when I hear you doing that with people, it's the only way people get the message, and because it hits home. And it's, like you said, it's tough love, and that's really, I think, in some ways the best way to learn.
Well, yeah, I mean, I won't let myself off the hook for my own stupidity and ignorance and moronic things that I do, nor will I let anyone else off it. You're me, I'm you. Get over it. You know, this is how I tough love myself. So, you know, cry me a river. I've cried enough myself, beaten myself up. All right? So, and that's where I live. No, I mean, do unto others as you should have them do unto you. This is exactly what I would have done unto me.
Yeah. But
smarten me up, wouldn't it?
You know, you couldn't give this message without having gone through it. There's no way you could do it. Well, you might be able to, but it wouldn't resonate with anybody because you can't, as I said before, you can't give away what you don't own.
Bingo. And you can't own that which you don't experience in terms of life and knowledge and wisdom, right?
Yeah,
you know,
and
very fine line.
Yeah, and, you know, because I've been through, and most people that listen to your show have probably been through as well. You can't get to where you are, Kate, without having gone through hell. You know, at least a few times, and I know that. You know, so I know that when you're speaking, and the fact that you are where you are, just having such a powerful voice, there's no way that you would be where you are if you hadn't gone through hell. Well,
and that's why I'm so grateful for it. You know.
And it's the flip side, isn't it?
It is. It's a mirror. Can you dare to stand on your holy shit, 310 posts and love and stuff, and I've already scrolled down? You guys are going nuts tonight. Sorry. That floors me. I mean, there's been close to 1,000 posts in that room every day. Okay. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, MJ. Right on the money, my friend. And one of these nights, MJ, I'm doing a shout-out to you. I'd love for you to come in. Again, I have to roll off right at the top of the hour because I do a webinar on Thursday nights. I did pass the information out. There may still be time if people did want to join in on that. I'm going over the summons of the dead, which, by the way, I have to get over to Maria as well. The first part of it, because I'm still not done it, but I want to actually fine-tooth it with people so they can see what the intent behind it is from the spiritual ether side of things, because that's the only place I live, period. You know,
And you let me know if you want me to help you out there with emails and stuff.
We're going to talk, hon. We're going to be talking. Absolutely. What happened to my blog talk page? Stop. I hate when it does that. I have to open up another page here. Oh, yeah. Facebook isn't responding either. Okay, well, there you go.
But you can always talk about Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely a movie I want to go through in great detail because there's so much in there. So much. I go to the same scenes, but what I want to do is, if I can find enough clips, because again, I have the whole movie somewhere. It's one of my all-time favorites, and of course I have the DVD of Wizard of Oz. Where is it? Couldn't tell you. But anyway, that's the problem when they raid your house and they throw everything everywhere and you don't know where stuff is and whatever. Yeah. Whatever I have to, I'll see if I can find it online first, and if not, I'll. It was hard enough to find. I had to order it. That was the problem, right? It was a special order. It took 6 weeks to get it.
The original, anyway. You mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, really? I'm a purist when it comes down to it. Yeah. I want the original. I don't want the copy. Sorry, baby. That's why for me it's all about being original, right? And that's why I started off the show with watching. Look at all these copycats copying somebody else's nonsense and regurgitating it, thinking it's real. Morons. And I'm calling myself that because, hey, they're me. And I'm thinking, oh, how schizophrenic do I have to get in this universe? But the bottom line, though, and I will be in touch with you as far as emails. I do have a game plan, but I want to sit with you one-on-one. We'll have a chat. And because you have got a very unique position, as do a couple of others, but you in particular, of where you've come from and the connections you have and how deep into the belly you can send stuff. And I'll tell you the email addresses I'm looking for, if I don't already have them. And we'll do that one-on-one. I don't want to give anybody a heads up. I just want to get, there it is. Open it up. I don't care. My intent's there. Made it to you through the ether and everything. So, sorry, did I mention I'm a God creator that's starting to know some shit? Did I mention that part? To shut down the Orion Nebula? No more stars coming out of that crap. It's going to, we're going to turn that the other way. Oh, there's another allegory, pole shift. Everyone's talking about the planetary pole shift. Duh, it's you that's shifting poles. The individual, the pole shift is finding your 0 point. It's not going one extreme to the other. Mind you, there are going to be a lot of kids here that are in kindergarten and will be required to repeat it. And some of us aren't going to be around here. If but one shall awaken, the game's over anyway. So there you go.
Can you explain that, Kate, what you just said? About
which part?
Repeating it? About the kindergarten kids?
Well, again, in an infinite game, if you're not, how many times do you have to go through a class until you get a grade until you get to the next one? Mm-hmm. You get to the next grade by passing the one you're in, and I don't see. Oh, I see a lot of people that will be passing. I also see a lot of people that won't be. But the game for me is, all for one and one for all. No one gets left behind. That's my purpose. So what I try to do is I don't try shit. I just do it. Get my vibrations up, get the frequencies high enough, and not get caught up too much on other people's nonsense. And I do get a lot of that dealt to me, believe it or not. And I get a lot of great stuff dealt, far more great stuff of, oh, look at you. Wow, I love that every day. I see people just like, look at you flaming lighthouse. It's beautiful. And now there's I'm thinking, I say, hey, Dreamboat. No, not you shipwreck. You got some fixing up to do, right? But, this is an infinite game. Do I have all the answers? God, no. As I was saying to Hazel earlier, I've got a cookie jar, and I share as much as I can with those that, that want it, and those that don't, I just pull the cookie jar away, and they get all, well, what's in your cookie jar? Well, I got ginger snaps, and I got chocolate chips, and I got peanut butter, and I got Oreos, and I got all sorts of cookies. You can't have any.
Well, Kate, well, you just said the ginger. You know, I just because I'm trying to watch these movies and try to pick out this stuff like you do. So I watched that one. What was the gingerbread? Who had the gingerbread house? What was that movie?
Oh,
Hansel and Gretel. Yeah. Well, you know, there they are eating gingerbread men. They're eating people. They're cannibals. Is that one?
That's an allegory.
Okay, good. I got one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it only takes you to start getting 1 or 2 and 3 and 4, and then you start. What we're doing is we're retraining our creative side to see with the analytical, right? Mm-hmm. The analytical has taken over our creative. They're not working in unison. We've pole shifted from one side to the other, and here in this paradigm, we're patriarchal. That's why Rome's all about, you know, oh, look at the size of that penis called obelisk. Hey, let's put the kings and queens in phalluses. Oh, no, take the H out. Palaces. You know, let's make the word hall. It's like I love the manly P hall, right? Manly, indeed. P? Isn't that interesting? P as in Peter? Oh, right, penis, and of course hall, which is phallus as well. Look at all, you know, the halls of Montezuma. All these words that have these connotations attached to them, all dispelled now, so don't worry about it. Speak freely. The intent is destroyed in it. But when you start seeing this patriarchal ruling, that is the pole shift went too far in the intention. And that's my hunch with regards to this all-knowing, has far too much intention to change the universe into their image. And God made man in our image. Excuse me, what? Wait a minute. No. Hang on a second here. Okay, no, you aberrated the perfect creation to suit the image that would work and serve you, you less than benevolent piece of garbage, you. I'm calling you out on it now. You think you're all-knowing? Well, I know you're powerless. I watched one of your priests, in an allegory, bow to it. I got to be first-hand witness of that allegory. It's beautiful.
So, you know, it just, you know, I think I knew this before, but by listening to you, it sort of brought it back up for me. The way it was sort of explained to me is that, like, December 21st, 2012, that date was sort of like the middle part of the changeover from the left side to the right side of the brain, or electric to magnetic energy. Is that a good way to? Yeah. And so.
Well, yeah.
And so the whole, like, for some reason, I guess because we're, you know, people that are listening to your show, we were kind of maybe the forerunners of it. So this is why we are here today, being able to switch that over from the logical to the allegorical, like you're talking about, so that now our minds now are operating in the right hemisphere, or the magnetic female essence.
We're getting neutral, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to swing too far because there's chaos in the creative. There's no rhyme or reason. That's why the intention must be there after the fact. Right? What's happened is we swung too far to the intentive side, and creation has been, you know, order out of chaos. Where creation has been controlled by an external force instead of the one within us. Because we got kicked out of balance. We got split in two. We got told that we're a boy or a girl. We got told that we're magnetic or we're electric. That's your divide and conquer. That is your fisher of men.
May I say something?
You just did.
Who's the other Torian who's been on this call? I don't know
Patty?
your name.
That's Patty.
Patty, hi. Hi, Patty.
Hi.
If I just may say that I disagree with Kate in a way, because I believe we're already whole. We're already whole. Whole, W-H-O-L-E. And the division is an illusion. It's just one perspective.
Well, good for you.
So if you're already whole, well, thanks, man. Or girl.
Yeah, so you're talking to someone that actually is whole. Get it? Trying to convey that.
I was talking to Patty. I'm whole. Everything's already whole, because there's nothing that is not. And also, I would just like to suggest that all creation is illusionary and inspiration and has not been created. Every thought did already happen and is going to happen by you because you're already whole.
All right, and tomorrow night, actually, the show, what is it, tomorrow night, Thursday, or Friday, tomorrow night, Syncretism, will be hosted by Tracy. I am no longer needed.
No, that's not what I was saying. Girl, come on now.
What have I been saying all
already
along?
Whole. Division is an illusion. It's a perspective.
Tracy, do you actually ever listen to the archives at all, or you just kind of glean over them? I'm
do you
serious.
Ever listen to me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do listen to everything you say. Why do you think?
Well, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering what
damn it,
part
I'm
of.
not disagreeing with you. I don't know. You're the one picking the fight.
No, I'm not. You're the one that said.
Is it not already whole? Kate, is everything whole?
What have I been saying all along, hon?
But I wasn't talking to you, Kate. I was talking to Patty.
Well, when you mention my name in a sentence that I'm wrong about something, of course you're talking to me, hon.
Because it's your show. I didn't...
It's not my show. I'm just sitting here pushing buttons. And I often wonder why you come on just to push mine. Seriously.
I guess you like it. I don't know.
Actually,
We're not disagreeing.
Tracy, I actually find you very rude and very fucking annoying, to be honest with you. And I've had people ask me to not open your line up. If you want the truth, there it is, hon.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hang
on a sec. You don't understand. Because if you did, you wouldn't say,
Yes, I'm
can I say
rude
something?
and...
No, just give me a second here, okay? Little Miss Assumptive. There's nothing whole about you, boyfriend. Get it? I know a male ego when I hear one. Okay.
Thank you.
All right? I'm going to call the TLB out every time. Get centered, hon. Because when you're centered, you don't make comments like, so-and-so is wrong.
I didn't say wrong. I said everything's whole.
I'll run it back if I could right now. And actually, if you listen to the archive, you'll hear it for yourself. You came out and made a very, very, very strong claim. And I said, whoa, wait a minute.
The archive speaks for itself, and you're the one dividing.
Okay, well, tell you what, Tracy, because I really, really, I love you, hon. I really do. But I get so fed up running circles with you, okay? I really do.
Understood.
I love you.
Understood. I love you, too. Bye.
All right.
You know, it's really hard for Taurus being one, and I have a horse for my Chinese sign, so can you imagine how hard it is for me? I mean, I'm always going. I always want to run, right? I totally understand where Tracy's coming from. This is something I have to learn, too, you know, and it's hard, for especially a Taurus horse. Oh, my God.
You know, until people figure out their signs, they're going to be running circles. Honest to God, they are. Right? Until people figure out the mirror of their sign. All right?
And work on that. That's the thing. Yeah, I so agree. And you know what? It's so hard because it's so ingrained in us, this other energy that we've had. I mean, I've had it for, 59 years. And now I'm at this point where you're going, oh, shit, I got to change? Well, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, you know, it hasn't been working so far. So, we can't keep doing the same things over and over again. And that's what I find happening. And, again, it's not about picking on Tracy. Nothing to do with that at all. But I got to say, and I'm not going to say but to negate what I just said. I'm not picking on her. All right? It's a beautiful contrast.
You're not. It's just putting the mirror. It's just the mirror because, you know, other people are going to get it too by how you're presenting it. You know, other people that, like, I used to interrupt all the time, and I still do, but I try to catch myself now. I'm very, very aware of it, and I have to be. And so by you doing what you're doing with Tracy, and I love you, Tracy, too. I'm just like you. Other people who listen are going to learn. So it's a great tool. You know why? Because it hurts.
Well, exactly. And one of the things that people keep forgetting about me is when I'm sitting here, I don't care what you say, I feel you. When someone can come at me waxing eloquence, and I can feel their chainsaw. I can feel their intent. I know when someone's looking at me or talking to me, and I'm not talking about anything tonight here, okay? This is a very general, overall thing. I know when someone's looking me in the eyes with a big smile and lying through their teeth at me. I don't have to hear it. I don't have to see it because I already feel it. So I know when someone is coming at me because they've got a bone to pick. I feel it first, all right? And that's when I react. And I throw it back. You know, so and that's just the way it is. I mean, what did my day? No, as mentioned, started my day off with someone throwing judgment and claim after judgment and claim at me to the point where I blocked them. What part of I'm going on to do an interview in 10 minutes and I don't want to talk to anyone before I do that. What part of my whole life, and well, Sue was talking, she would tell you, don't come anywhere near me for an hour before any show. Because I'm working on getting in my zone, and then when someone gets all defensive about me saying, no, I don't want to do that, and they take it because I don't want to talk to them, you know, like, grow up. Don't sit there and call me foolish and all the rest of this crap. You get blocked for it.
Well, Kate, I love the fact that you do this, and it's not about Tracy, it's not about anybody.
It's not about anybody.
Well, it isn't. It's just about what you're doing. And if people could just get rid of that ego, like you said, and what you're doing in my terms, like, I'm all for beating me up. If that's what it takes to get me to open my eyes, I'll give you the whip, because I don't want to stay in the place where I am. And many of us who are right where we are today listening to you don't want to be, and if it takes you saying and doing what you say, I'm just rawing you on. I really am.
Well, I tell you,
I think a lot of other people are too. I really do.
I would love to jump in right now, if that's okay with you guys.
No, please.
Hi. I totally agree with you about what you're saying, and you know, sometimes we do need to see the other side, what's going on. Sometimes we need to be, you know, someone needs to tell us what's going on, because we don't really know. We can just keep going down that same road, and no one's, you know, saying, hey, over here, pay attention, you know, can you see what you're doing? And like I was talking earlier, I was going down that fear porn road there for a moment, and you know, Kate had to say, hey, hold on one second, it's going a little too far. And you have to know when you're going too far. You have to step back and be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's step back here for a moment and put that ego back where it belongs, because the ego does want to just run with it as far as it can go. And even this mention about the Taurus and the horse, Sagittarius with a Taurus moon and a Leo ascending.
Well, I have a Sagittarius moon.
Yeah, I got the Leo ascendant action going on too. So you want to pick a fight with me, knock yourself out. I'll chew you up and spit you out sideways.
All that says to me is that we have gone through hell and back with our zodiac applications to be where we are today. I mean, don't you agree?
Oh,
yes.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get here.
Yeah, you know, and I've been blunt about it, and I always will be. He says, no one can be harder on me than me, and I've absolutely crucified myself countless times to get where I'm at, because I have to, in order to get past these ingrained programs that run so deep in all of us. Unfortunately, for most, they're still not seeing it, and they're still picking the fights, and they're still thinking they need to prove something, and they're still thinking they need to defend, and they're still thinking they need to apologize, and they're still thinking they need to do this, that, and the other. And the easy answer is this: stop thinking, please. Just stop. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I will say this, and I got some seriously thick skin. I've also got a very, very, very vicious wit when I want to pull it out. And it's not something I like bringing out. That's the wood dragon on fire. And it is not a nice thing, and it will leave your ego in tatters. It'll
but
give you something.
That's not a bad thing, Kate. I mean, that's why you are where you are, and that's why, you know, I don't know anybody that I know who could do what you do. You have been handpicked because of the things that you just said, and they're not bad. They're positive, because it's why you are where you are, because you have those traits, because you need to teach us. You need to teach us with kindness, whatever. If it means bringing out the whip, you bring it out, because many of us couldn't do that. And I'm grateful that you can.
But that's the part that hurts me the most, when I have to. It's like, you know, I'll explain things all day long, as peaceful and as gentle as I love to be. And what happens with me is, you know, sometimes, and see, this, I know my twins. I know both of me. I know my singularity, and I keep the one on a very short leash. for very specific reasons, and it's rare that I bring it out. And people, if you listen back over the last number of years, you will hear it when I do bring it out. And I don't like it, but I tell you, I get some of the best comments from it, but that's not where I like to be. That is not my peaceful 0 point. That is exactly what I'm trying to not be in. And so when I bring it out, it's actually a very painful process for me to do it. That's why I don't like doing it. And when I feel someone coming at me, and whether it's, I'm not speaking specifically tonight, but when I have something coming at me that I feel it, that Leo Ascendant kicks into full motor go, and I've got a chainsaw in each hand. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't do that to you. Where are you? And you want to play that game? I'll play it with you. If you want to play Tiddlywinks, I'll do that. If you want to play Chainsaw Massacre, I'll play that too. Again, one of my life sayings is very simply this, and I'm going to have to sign off because I got the webinar in a minute. 60 seconds literally. I can be your best friend. That's what I want to be. Or I can be your worst nightmare.
But they're the same thing.
You get to choose.
They're
Not
the
me.
same thing if you love somebody.
Absolutely they are. See, and very few people have ever said what you just said. They're exactly the same thing, only totally different. That's another one of mine. They're exactly the same thing, only completely different. They're opposites, and they have the same purpose, the same intent, and the same love contained within it. Problem is, with duality, people get stuck on one side or the other, and they can't see the coin. They can only see the head of the dragon or the tail. And I'm trying to show you where the heart of this dragon is. It's right in the middle. And that's where I think I'll end up.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kate.
So, much love to you guys. Thank you so much for tonight. Tracy, you too, hon. These are the contrasts that people need to see. These are the lessons that people need to observe. Me too. When I say people, don't disclude me. I'm there too. And that's another thing. When I speak, I'm speaking for me and third party. Okay? I include myself with you. So when I'm out calling things out, I'm calling me out on it as well. Yeah. So on that note, much gratitude tomorrow night. Big pile of energy sent out to Santo. He's headed back home tomorrow. So I haven't had any updates. So I don't assume I'll hear from him until probably Sunday, or if he's in an airport and he needs to chat or whatever, I'm here as well. So, but throw out the energy. Let's get him home, and I can hardly wait for this movie to get put together, edited and got out to everybody, because I know it's going to be a masterpiece of masterpieces. Because only Santo can show the light in the way that I need to show its mirror. He's going to do it perfectly. He's going to give me a perfect example of what I need to reflect to show you the dark. The allegory. Cool, huh?
Yeah, beautiful.
All things for a reason. So much love to everybody.
Have a good night.
You too, guys. And,
Thank you.
And it's okay, Tracy. I open your mic. You can have your last word here, because I know you want to.
You're funny.
No, I'm fair. So Tracy, you get the last word. Hurry up, I gotta go. Unless she's not wanting to talk, that's okay too.
Kate, shall we end with a song and let it run out?
Yes, because I can actually do my login off the while I'm running. So, what do you want to hear, hon?
Oh, Kate, I would like to thank you.
And I'd like to thank you as well.
I'm sorry, Ninja. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I would like to thank you as well, Kate. I love you.
I know you do.
I know.
It's all good. What are we finishing with, Ninja?
Yes, it is.
I don't mind, Kate. You choose, darling.
Alrighty. I'll tell you what. Let's go a little rocky tonight. Let's kick a little bit
I
of
was going to ask that.
Little Shadow Road.
Kate, can you rock on?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess you're going to hear. The song I'm going to play for you guys is called Shadow Road. I wrote it in 1993, and it was just, I'm old. Get over it.
No, I'm old. Get over it.
All right, Shadow Road. Can I finish here? I'm trying to sign out. Thanks. See what I mean? There we go, Taurus. Shadow Road. It's a song about...
Wow, you got some issues with Taurus.
Yeah, I do, actually. Shut the fuck up. All right, there we go. Muted. There's the dragon. All right. Love you. Learn to shut up. Thanks. Shadow Road. Song I wrote about me meeting me in the future at the crossroads. So there you go. Yeah. And on a final note, most of the Taurians I've ever met in my life have screwed me over, and they don't know when to shut up. So I got a little bit of wariness around them. And when I find the good ones, they're like gold to me. Okay? So there you go. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Uh-huh. Love you all. Take care.
Love you, Katie.
Before the sun came up, felt the night wind blowing at the crossroads in the dust. Standing there I saw man, bloodstains on his soul. Gleam his eye as cold as steel, one pocket full of gold. So young man he beckons with one finger of his hand. Come sit with me for just a while and I'll help you understand what it takes to play this game, one lesson yet to learn. The road from here is never clear, beware your every turn. No mistake, I tell you true, the just man will prevail. No sacrifice is worth the price, you see you must not fail. On down the road I've traveled far, I've lived 10 lives in one. What I've learned I'll give to you. My plan is done. Getting close to every word, along every line. Now we'll pass the objectives, what's it for? That's all my time. Up to you, don't do all I can. Daddy turned and walked away, faded into time. There I stood and shaking man, not sure what I had seen. I knew the face, but I couldn't place the man that might have been. As I walked back down the road, I looked but couldn't see. It was as if it was never there, that crossroads by the tree. For on the day the night wind came, I hadn't realized. Across the boundary set in time, I had planted just one seed and built that road across my path where the future came to me.